Howdy folks, this is going to be a functional review and walkthrough of the Netgear Nighthawk AC1900 Wi-Fi router. The model of this one is R7000 and it is a fairly good size router. You can see the good size box that it comes with, and when you take that out, it is going to be one of the bigger routers you probably ever had if you're going to get this one. Just to compare it to my old router here, I used to have the Linksys E2000, and just to compare the sizes between the two, you can see that it is a fairly big router. In terms of specifications, this router comes with 1 GHz dual-core processor, and this is a dual-band simultaneous router, so you can run the 2.4 GHz band and the 5 GHz band at the same time. Okay, let's go ahead and take a quick tour of the router. In the front, you will have some indicators here. The first one here will show you whether or not your router is powered and if it's finished the boot up process. So initially this light is going to be orange and then will change to white once the router is online. The next indicator here is whether or not you have internet access. So once you connect it to your modem, this light should change from orange when it's attempting the connection to white once the connection has been made. And then the next two light indicators here is whether or not your 2.4 or the 5 GHz band for Wi-Fi is on or not. You can choose to use to set up one band or to use both bands. It's up to you. The other two indicators here is going to be for the USB functionality. So right now they're off because I do not have anything plugged in at the moment. But if we'll go ahead and plug in to the front USB port, and the front USB port is 3.0 port, you will see that the light here came on, indicating that USB stick has been, or something has been connected to the USB port. The next four functionality lights here is going to be for your Ethernet ports. So if you have something connected to the Ethernet port like I do here, you will have an indicator here. And the difference between an orange color that you can see here and a white color is if you are connected to a 1 gigabit port, it's going to be white. And if you're connected to a 10100 Ethernet port, it's going to stay orange. And the last two indicators here are actually also buttons. So for example, if you want to go ahead and turn off wireless capabilities, you can press and hold for a second or so, and then it will go ahead and turn off. Both lights will go off, and this will indicate that there are no Wi-Fi functionalities enabled at the moment. If you want to go ahead and turn Wi-Fi on, you'll go ahead and press that, and then you'll see that those indicator lights will go ahead and turn on. The last button here is for WPS. Obviously, when your Wi-Fi is off, WPS goes off automatically because you can't do WPS connectivity since there is no Wi-Fi. But as long as you have Wi-Fi on, if you have any WPS devices that you would like to connect through the WPS protocol, you can press this button once. You will see it starts blinking, and while it is blinking, you can go ahead and connect your other devices. In the back of the router, you will see that you can connect 3 antennas. I have already connected them for this review. You will have your power port, which is right here, already plugged in. You'll have an on-off switch, so if you'd like to go ahead and turn off the router, you can do so as well. And then next here, you will have the USB 2.0 port right here. So here you'll plug in the Cat5 cable that goes to your modem. And then you'll have 4 Ethernet ports right here that you can connect to the router. So there are a couple of reasons why I got this router. There are two things that I'm trying to achieve here. First is range. With my old router here, it would work fine throughout the house, but if you're trying to stream large files into the backyard, for example, if you're trying to watch something there, I was not able to do so. And the other reason why I went with this router specifically is that it has 2 USB ports. Right now I had 0 with my old one, but the primary reason is that it has a USB 3 port, and obviously USB 3 provides great speed and data transfer. So that's the other reason why I went with this router. I'll tell you right now that there are some things I was able to achieve with this router, but there were also some things that I could not, and hopefully they will be improved by Netgear in the future. In terms of their online interface and setup, it is very simple, very easy to use. It is truly self-explanatory. You can use your setup wizard or go into each category and configure it yourself. By default, their Wi-Fi network already has a password there, and you have a sticker on the router that tells you what it is. So you're already starting with a secured network, which is great. Also, if you do need to go ahead and do a router update to the firmware, I love that their firmware update does not wipe out all of your settings and network username or password. All of that actually stays intact. So if you already have devices connected via a certain name to your network, all of those devices will be able to go ahead and connect again without actually having to reset it, which is quite different as to many firmware updates that many vendors use for their devices. Oftentimes that will wipe out the whole setup and settings that you may have. So I actually really like that functionality that it did save the Wi-Fi user ID and password specifically. Alright, that is basically all in terms of setup. It is self-explanatory, so there's not much I need to cover there, to be honest with you. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is going to be a functional review. So I have hooked up my old router here, and actually I'll show you the issue I was having with it, and then we'll see if the current one will be able to actually go ahead and address that problem. Here we are in the backyard, and I'll show you the problem with the old router that is currently on, and the reason why I've decided to upgrade to the new router. With the old router, if I'm actually going to show you something from my WTV, which are recorded items from my Windows Media Player, you will see that the videos are always going to play choppy. It cannot handle the range in terms of playing those videos in the backyard. I can still play those videos from within the house, but you will see that through anything in the backyard, not in the house, those files cannot be played. Now let's go ahead and plug in the Nighthawk R7000 and see if that problem is going to go away. So the Netgear router has been hooked up, and let's see if I'll get some good range in the backyard. Back in the backyard here, we'll do two tests. The first test is going to be using the 2.4 gigahertz band, using the N protocol, and you'll see that here we'll get about anything from 100 to maybe 130 megabits per second. Once in a while it may drop to 75 megabits per second. But you can see playing the WTV files is going to work over the new router. Initially it will play a little bit choppy, as you'll see here in just a second. And then remember that Netgear has the beamforming technology, and then it will actually go ahead and start playing just fine. In this case, it actually started playing fine right away, and sometimes it will do that as well. It's not choppy, and you can see that it's not choppy, and it's actually playing just fine. I can't show you too much of the actual video or the recording because of the copyright reasons, but you get the idea that it will actually go ahead and play over the router under the 2.4 gigahertz band. So the second test is going to be doing this over my second network, which is going to be the 5 gigahertz network. That's the TWAN-NAT2, and this is the 5 gigahertz network. It gets speeds, it says 117 to 130, but sometimes it will actually drop it quite a bit when you're actually starting to play video. And over 5 gigahertz network, it will either play very choppy, just like it was on my old router, or sometimes it will kick me off Wi-Fi. So when we're going to start playing the video, you'll see that sometimes it may play it and it's going to be choppy. And then see it stops, and then it's going to continue playing or whatnot. And occasionally, in some cases, it will actually drop you from Wi-Fi. And then after a few minutes, the Wi-Fi will... Oh! There we go. See, WAN 1 or 2 are both gone. Perfect. I'm glad I was able to reproduce it, because sometimes it's hard to do that. And you can see they're not showing up anywhere. And it's going to take a minute or two. Here it is. So now it's connected back. Now let's go ahead and do a refresh. There's the file. Let's try and play it again. Or it could be any file. Normally it's actually choppy, it doesn't stop, but in some cases it will just go ahead and let's see what's happening to the Wi-Fi. It still says we're connected. But it can't seem to play. And that's the problem with the 5 GHz band. Looks like it dropped the WAN net 2 and looks like it's connecting to WAN net 1 now. And 2 totally disappeared, looks like, for now at least. So that's quite disappointing actually. So here's another thing that I want to show you is the difference in transfer speed. Right now I have my USB 3 stick connected directly to my computer's USB 3 port, and I just want to show you the difference. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and copy the 8 GB file over to the USB 3 stick, and you'll see it's transferring at about 275 to 53 to 65 megabytes per second. So that's a really good transfer speed. Now the next test is that I'll show you is I'll go ahead and plug in the same. I'll go ahead and cancel this one. I'll go ahead and plug in this USB 3 drive to the router, ReadyShare. And obviously I'm not expecting to have the same fast speed like I do over my USB 3. Obviously there are differences between the two. So now we'll copy a file over the Ethernet. So this computer is connected via 1 gigabit port to the USB 3 stick, and that's the ReadyShare drive, that Netgear calls it. And you'll see that the speed is going to be dramatically different. Obviously, I'm not expecting the 70 megabytes per second transfer speeds, but I was hoping it's going to give me a little bit more than 30 to 40 megabytes per second transfer speeds. So an issue I'm also having, and honestly I'll tell you that I can't reproduce it all the time, it's going to happen occasionally, but when I am playing the large WTV files from the portable hard drive or the USB 3 stick over the 2.4 gigahertz network, in several cases I did have Wi-Fi either drop or connectivity to the internet drop. It had only happened a couple of times, so I can't fully attribute it to this problem, but it happened I think 2 or 3 times, and it all happened under the occasions when I was actually pulling a file either from this USB 3 stick or from a portable hard drive where internet connectivity would be lost or Wi-Fi would be lost. So this is an issue that hopefully Netgear will address, but I did update it to the latest firmware, and I did not have any luck. My concern now is that their new router, the R7000, is out, and it is what seems to be like a really great router, but at this price, I don't think so. I won't be buying that one. So my only concern and fear is that the R7000 may not be getting much more in terms of updates. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am, and they can fix things. But given the few issues that I'm having with this one not being able to stream some files reliably over the 2.4 gigahertz network without once in a while shutting down the internet, and the unstable aspect of the 5 gigahertz network where sometimes it just goes offline where I'm trying to stream large files, it concerns me. And with the new router being version and the router being out, I'm afraid that they may actually stop actively updating and fixing issues with this one. So even though I had it for almost 30 days, I'm honestly considering returning it until I can find something a little bit more stable, but I'll be making up my mind probably here within the next day or two. But I just wanted to share with you some of the issues that I'm having with this one. All right, well, thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you guys found it beneficial. Again, this was a review based on the reasons why I bought it and the specific functions I'm using it for. For many of you, you may not even have those issues, and hopefully you found this review to be beneficial and helpful. If you did or if you did not, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.